Hey, Podcast America. Welcome to episode, 28 of the Enlightened Neanderthals. And before we get into it, let's talk about Allegiance holsters. Mike, did you have something to say?
About Allegiance holsters?
Yeah.
My life changed when I started wearing an Allegiance holster. I don't know if you noticed that.
I did.
Yeah. I mean, I had pimples. The girl I was into at the lunchroom wasn't into me. She didn't want to go to prom. But all of a sudden, one day, my older brother, he handed me an Allegiance holster. And you know what happened?
Your cock grew 2 inches.
Well,
she saw a little bulge.
yeah.
She knew.
Well, yeah, she knew what
it.
that meant. And that meant no more pimples, no more getting picked on. Went to prom, got voted prom king. And you know why? Because I was strapped with an IFAC and a holster from Allegiance holster. It changed my entire high school experience.
Change your entire high school. Oh, God, can we even say that when we're talking about holsters?
Maybe
As long as it's an empty holster.
Yeah.
IFAC kits.
IFAC.
Pick them up.
First
Everybody
aid
get
kit.
Oh, my God.
Son of a bitch. AllegianceHolsters.com, code TNW10 at checkout. And we'll talk about Tyler and Vanessa's Stanaway's Forest School, which I think is done for the year. But if you want to find pricing and registration for next summer and also just see everything that they've got going on with their little homestead and Tyler's podcast, The Compassionate Viking, you can find that at compassionateviking.com. And then, of course, my own Training Northwest. If you're here in Snohomish County, Washington, we are located out in Granite Falls. And our 2023 calendar schedule is done for the year. We are still booking private lessons, which you can contact me at trainingnorthwest@protonmail.com. And I will have our 2024 schedule up in January. Also, we are a dealer of Vortex Optics. So if you are looking for anything that Vortex makes, even if it is something that is not currently in stock on the website, send me an email and we'll get it on the way. And if it's an optic for one of your firearms, you'll get a free session out on the range to come out, get zeroed, and I'll run you through a few drills to get you accustomed to your new optic. And Michael,
Tell me.
what did we talk about today?
We had the idea of tent cities, I believe, was our main
Did we talk about it?
point. Yes, it was discussed, and it brought everything up from tent cities to drug cities to where you live in society to, what animal you would hunt with. And
Natural progression.
The correct answer is saber-toothed tiger.
no. What that's another podcast, but it was all over the place. As Jordan would say, pure debauchery.
Yeah. All right, guys, enjoy the show.
Yeah.
All right, Jordan, you were a decade behind us coming up through school. So Mike and I came up through the era of the 80s comedy movies that always had gratuitous boobs. When you guys were coming up in the 90s, was there a lot of I don't remember being a lot of gratuitous nudity in 90s movies.
Well.
Was
Hold
there?
on now.
Wild Things was 90s.
Oh,
Wild
yeah.
Things was 90s.
Yeah.
Are we just
American Pie was 90s.
Oh, yeah.
And you want to talk about gratuitous boobs.
Yeah, but they showed Bush in Nerds in the 80s, and I think it was rated PG-13.
You know,
give me a Bush shot now.
We're
pressing the line of a hard R, a very hard R.
Yeah, I'm not a big Bush in movies guy. You know, I'd rather see a butt shot than that. You know what I mean? Like I see that and I'm kind of like, you know, whatever, dude.
Oh shit!
It's like it's too much for me. It's like, you know.
You need a little seduction. You need the wind blowing in through the drapes and the windows kind of getting you.
Whoa, easy.
Yeah.
Easy. Now, what are you trying to do to me?
It's just,
what are you trying to do to me?
Exactly.
You're going to get him to half-mast here while we're trying to record on the mats.
I guess the Bush for Jordan is like a dick pic getting sent to him. It's too abrasive, you know? It's like you got to ease into it with some nice little titty shots.
Oh
man.
my God.
Yeah, I mean, we had...
It's a family
but
show.
at the same time... Yeah, come on. Keep
Hey,
it...
I'm saying
keep
Bush.
It G.
Special Agent K is going to be disappointed in us.
Hey, nudity's been in movies throughout time. I'm sure like one of the first things when someone got a video camera, there's like, hey, show me your tits. You know, like I'm sure it's gotta be. It's the most thing on the internet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What you guys don't understand about me in the 90s was my parents were young and they graduated in the late 90s. Or late 80s, rather.
Oh, okay.
So
Fine.
I was around a bunch of absolute 80s kids.
were
Well,
not
I mean,
grown
that
up
were
and
like
ready to-
20, 25, you know. When I was walking around able to watch movies,
Yeah.
I'm with a bunch of 25-year-old dudes.
Oh, my God.
Guess what was happening?
Yeah.
You know, I know what Porky's was, Porky's Revenge. Or was it Porky's,
yeah.
something like that. And it's just like, okay, this is at Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah.
I started wearing those shoes in junior high, I think, before they got cool again.
Nice.
Just because, you know, Spicoli
Spicoli.
is one of the greatest.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I had a serious topic coming in here today. And
Like we always do.
we always do. I just had this thought the other day, looking at like the tent cities that are popping up all around us, the homeless drug camps and the RVs that are parked all over Seattle and whatnot. And like I myself, so we haven't talked about this publicly yet, but my wife and I are separating. And so trying to figure out 2 households on one income is just not possible. So I've been looking at options like buying an RV and parking it out at the range where there's no power and water. Or, you know, the other option is rent an apartment deep in like urban Linwood or Everett. And I went and looked at a few of them. And they're just shithole boxes that they throw some fresh paint over the top of the damage. And the people hanging around in the parking lots, just filth. And I was like, I can't. Like it was borderline giving me a panic attack, the idea of moving deeper into urban rot. And so that made me think of, you know, part of the reason I can't afford anything right now is because interest rates have shot up, inflation is happening, so gas and groceries are expensive. And it kind of made me think of like the Hooverville shanty towns that popped up during the Depression, where people just, this is what they could afford, was to throw together a shanty and just survive for a year and think to themselves, you know, maybe next year we'll fall on a little bit better fortune. And then maybe you don't, and you don't know. But I wonder if we are headed for another depression as a country, because I'm not the only one. Like, Jordan, think about young journeymen who we work with who are making six-figure salaries a year, and they can't afford a first house. Like, they're 27 years old. Mm-hmm. They want to buy a starter house. They fucking can't on 6 figures.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to think about that, but I mean, there's also opportunity in that. I mean, to be a little bit, to save a little bit, you know, and just say, hey, you know, I'm going to live out of my car. Or I'm talking to young journeymen just because I knew at least, I thought I knew 2, but maybe I know 1 for sure that lived in a van full time. And it was like that, like a Chevy G20 or something.
Was it like a conversion van that had like a little sink and a stovetop and stuff like that?
I don't know if it was all decked out like that.
Did it have a white tiger on the side?
No. It was
no disco ball inside.
It was a
that's a fucking weak game. Like, if you're gonna live in a conversion van, have a white tiger and a disco ball.
Well, it wasn't conversion. Yeah, if you don't have that furry carpet,
oh yeah,
fuck you. You know what I mean? If you don't have the whole thing surrounding that.
I don't know, and that shit's hard to clean.
It's got to be. So what?
You just rip it out once a year and put in a new carpet.
Yeah.
Put in a new 4x4 patch.
Yeah,
that in a
or you
water
rake
bed,
it.
dude. Are you kidding me? Maybe that's what you should start doing, is murals like just that are ridiculous.
Mike, can you make a white? Like, if I bought a conversion van, could you make me a white tiger?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right.
You go, absolutely.
Don't you want to paint it on?
Maybe I'll go van life. Maybe
oh
that'll be
shit! Here we go.
Get one of those trendy Sprinter vans.
Fuck the 80s.
Imagine
We're going
a
straight
Sprinter
back
van.
to the 70s.
No. I'm going upscale. It would be one of the
upscales. It'll have ground effects.
Yeah, and a white tiger.
Yeah. Oh.
And a water
2
bed.
of them.
Water bed.
A water bed. That's got to be the worst thing to have in a van. How do you keep a waterbed warm
Do I have
in
to
a van?
spin? I can't tell.
Awful. My cousin had a waterbed. It was the worst thing on planet Earth.
I always think if you had a waterbed in a van and you got in an accident, like where you had to slam on your brakes and maybe you rear end someone a little bit, you've got a bed full of water that just stops. That's coming through the wall and killing you. Yeah. Like a giant water balloon's going to kill you in that accident. The car in front of you would be splattered with you and blood and, 250 gallons of water in the back seat.
You're like, but still not popped. Just a pinhole, like always. How the hell? You know what I mean? Yeah. Dude, when I was in junior high and I had a buddy's, all of a sudden we somehow, obviously we're just dicking around in his house. We found out his parents have a waterbed, and we were like, oh, and he was like, my dad's got a bad back, and it helps his back. I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, aye. This guy's a sailor, you. Yeah.
Why do you think that craze ended? Like, it was popular in the 70s,
because they were fucking terrible. That's why it ended.
But what?
What was so bad
I haven't slept on a waterbed.
They weren't comfortable.
Water doesn't compress; it just wiggles.
Exactly.
You know?
So it didn't like conform to your body much or anything. It just you'd sit there and sort of like
just get seasick.
Yeah, exactly.
Shaking back
and then when you try to get out of it, it's like there's nothing to push against because the water just displaces underneath you. So it's a pain in the ass to get out.
Yeah, but a waterbed when you watch The Life is Pi, how great would that be?
Take a Dramamine patch and fucking click it on.
Yeah.
It's weird. That did erupt out of the 70s. Oh, I'm sorry. What were we talking about? Shanty towns?
Waterbeds.
Hey, do you think any of those 10 cities in Seattle have waterbeds?
Goddamn right. Dude, they got garages and microwaves.
I shit you not. I saw a guy putting in sod.
Well, yeah.
He had a pallet foundation, and this motherfucker was putting in sod and had a legitimate gravel pathway down to the front of it. And it was like, this guy is like, that's a lot of work. He's
landscaping.
Oh yeah, and he's going, and obviously there's patches missing from like UW. You know what I mean? Like he was taking grass from wherever and like gravel. But the fact that he was doing that, it's like you're trying to create something that you're proud of with only a few pallets but because that's really what it was. It was like either that or it was just like, I'm going to get creative and be like artsy, but it's at the same time, it's like, you're doing this for a home to live in. You're doing this because you have self-respect. How the fuck can you get into that position and still have self-respect when you're doing it in the middle of downtown Seattle?
I mean, I think
that's that middle of downtown Seattle is the kicker, because I could see there being a pretty good number of people who have just said, fuck it. They're tired of the system. And they go out and they do build some little cabin or whatever and kind of hang out there and, work 3 months a year or whatever, just enough to buy some basic provisions. And they probably realize that they're much more happy and relaxed sort of living that way. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's like tens of thousands of them across the country.
Yeah, but the people in Seattle aren't those people.
No, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Drug addicts.
But this was somebody in there. But that's what I mean. It's like, are there a few people who kind of just slip through the cracks and are just like, hey, I truly fell on hard times?
I think so.
Because my whole life,
I think everyone
I don't think they would be in the camps.
Maybe you fell on hard times, but you also became a raging drug addict.
I think that in the camps, everybody's a drug addict.
Yeah.
But if the scenario Jordan's talking about is true, they'll want to separate themselves from.
See, but this is
it was off of 45th, like.
But was it? Yeah, that's a shitload of drug addicts.
But this was a few. I mean, don't get me wrong. There was a shitload back then too, because I'm only talking 3 years.
Did you tag them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Put a little track and shit. Tag him. Yeah.
Like Charlie
like a shark. Put in a little tag.
Yeah. I drive around with a dart gun.
Yeah. Enter in the database.
I want to find out how he's doing.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's in Atlanta 2 years later.
Traveled 2,000 miles south.
This guy. Interesting.
Antarctica. How do you get there?
You could track bus fare, like But
this could actually be fun.
Yeah. Jesus. Yeah, I think that some people truly, because it's kind of fucked up, because I remember being younger being like, oh, how unfortunate. And that was the way I was raised, or that's the way I felt. So I imagine somebody was kind of like prompting me to feel a certain way about this, right? As a kid. Like, oh, I feel bad for this person. Oh, this sucks. But then, like, something changed to where it was also, like, ingrained in me. You should kind of fear the homeless. And I think that was kind of like the movie Dennis the Menace in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It had a homeless guy.
bad
Oh, yeah.
And he
A
was
hobo.
like, but he was
He
a
was a
hobo.
hobo.
And that's the thing. A wino, a hobo,
Usually a drifter
drifter.
isn't the,
Drifter, yeah.
grifter isn't the best.
Yeah, but it's
You
I
know?
think that was in a movie really put off so kids stayed the fuck away from hobos, right?
Not bad.
Yeah,
Not bad.
It's pretty good stuff.
It's good.
But then I remember feeling kind of sorry for him, because it was like, oh, how unfortunate, like, feel bad, pull over, give him some socks. Like, that was literally, I remember driving through Seattle doing that. And then at some point it was like, fuck those guys.
Yeah.
And I don't know when that transition happened to, like, and I think maybe it was just when the illicit drug use was happening.
I think
more
it's
and more.
when you realize that they were all there grifting off society, and society was crumbling around them. And
No, it's when you saw tents come up. This is all new within the last 10, 15 years.
Yeah,
Like,
Seattle. And I went up to Bellingham recently for the first time in, I don't know, 10 years probably, and went into downtown. And when I left there in 2007, or no, maybe 2008, it was like a nice, quaint college town. Like, it was safe, it was clean, there was...
Yeah.
It was a nice place to go walk around downtown at night. And we walked around downtown at night, I don't know, 3-4 weekends ago, and it was gross. It was just like downtown Seattle, just like big packs of people who are clearly getting high, just hanging out everywhere, and trash everywhere. And, it's like this, it's kind of sad. It's urban rot. Like, it is, it is real rot.
So we're back to sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like what you're saying
And
about...
Seattle is the same way. Seattle was, when Greg and I were in the Army at Fort Lewis in the early 2000s, yeah, it was awesome to go, like, hey, if we got a Saturday off, let's go up to Pike Place Market and just kind of dink around, and then...
There's a reason it was the place where the first road rules was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll go
know.
to Pioneer Square and hit the bars.
Yeah.
And it was awesome, man. And now it's like, who the fuck would want to go? And even the company Jordan and I work for, the Christmas parties used to be kind of legendary, because they would rent out a ballroom downtown, and then afterwards everybody would just sort of disperse out onto the streets and go bar hopping, and you'd run into, other friends, as you bar hopped around, you keep running into each other. And last year, Jordan and I and one other
got in a
friend.
fight.
Yeah, but it was like everything was boarded up. It's not like to go bar hopping. It's like, okay, the nearest bar is
15 blocks
that
way.
way. It's like 8 blocks away. We're like, shit, okay, so we're hoofing it. And along the way, we're passing all these groups of people who are obviously, again, getting high or peddling drugs. And then that one group of guys tried to fight, and I was like, oh shit, because my back was out. So I could barely I could barely walk. And Jordan's swelling up on these guys. It's like, fuck, dude, I'm going to have to stand here like a bitch and watch him fight, because I literally can't move.
Protect your neck. Protect your neck.
Oh, man. But again, Seattle has just, it's fucking bad how bad it's gotten. It's unbelievable how fast.
It's like you're saying those Hoovervilles, like that used to happen. And that was due to people having a very diminished economy and not being able to secure work, even though they were trying, right? So you had these people that were looking for work, and they're not giving up, but because nothing was available and times were tough, they would have to form little tent communities and try and
have you guys
do job interviews.
Were
and
they
stuff.
displaced?
No, it was because
they couldn't pay
there weren't-
rent, they couldn't pay mortgage, they couldn't pay the whole economy. The Great
everybody
Depression.
just left the houses that they were in.
No, I think
No,
a lot
you
of
get
them
kicked
were,
out, or the bank forecloses, and you get evicted.
This is
You
a lot
get
of people
forced.
are still moving west at this time too, right?
Yeah.
Because when the Depression started in the Midwest, a lot of those farmers packed up and headed out here because they weren't having the drought. Like obviously, there's rain here all the time, but they got here and there was nothing. There was no jobs. There were no houses, and a lot of them were living in like logging camps up in like Sultan and whatnot. And if that dried up, then you're living in a camp, like with canvas tents and whatnot.
But
So
these
then
were
you head
guys that
into
still wanted to work.
Yes. These weren't drug addicts.
camps that we have, and I think this is an interesting point to bring up. It's like, well, tent cities, what about it? It's like, well, what kind of tent city is it?
Exactly.
Is it because the times are tough and people have nowhere to go, so they're like, let's form a little community and try and, apply for jobs, and we'll cook and we'll try and grow stuff until this passes, and then we can get into houses or apartments. But it's like, these aren't those people. These are people that, yes, maybe they have to have had fallen on hard times, but there is just a blatant ignorance of admitting that this is so profoundly drug use. And you see all the videos. It's open air drug.
I mean,
look at the
my
overdoses.
question
Look
is-
at the crime. Everything that's related to not a tent city of people surviving. It's a tent city of people thriving off of drugs.
Well, my question is, do you think we'll start seeing people who do, like, I have a full-time job. I'm not a drug addict.
Yeah.
And yet I'm looking at living in an RV.
That's
right?
yeah.
So
That sounds sweet, though.
You're kind of
An RV?
disco ball, shag carpet, baby. And so my question, or sort of my thought is, are we going to start seeing more and more of this in the coming, 10 to 20 years? Because even where, out where the range is, the Training Northwest range, as you drive into that neighborhood, you'll notice a lot of RVs parked in front, you know what I mean, in yards where it's like, oh, obviously there's more than one, little family unit living on this property, because you've probably got grandparents in the house and the young couple living out in the RV because they can't afford jack shit else.
Yeah.
And I'm even starting to see that in like the nicer areas of Mill Creek and
I had a buddy
Bothell and
who
whatnot.
lived in an RV.
Yeah.
At his parents' house.
Yeah.
When we were in high school.
Yeah.
That was just kind of the cool thing to do. So I could see that. Like,
when he was in high school. Okay, yeah.
I could see that.
You're on top of the. Hang on, there's some duality in living in an RV. If you're living in an RV in your parents' side yard in high school, you're on top of the fucking world.
Yeah, you made it.
Yeah, yeah. Translate that. 43 years old, shit's gone sideways.
No, I understand that. What I'm saying is I think the stigma to it is going to be less and less, because as I was growing up, that was more of a thing that would happen.
I gotcha.
And I think that there's going to be people are going to be like realists and go, well, yeah, shit. This is happening around us, while everybody's face is like face down and nose in their phone.
Yeah.
Looking at all these people doing amazing things in Hollywood and all
Have
this.
you guys ever
They're
watched,
going to look up and realize everything around them's gone to shit.
Yeah. Have you guys ever watched Ready Player One?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the stacks, right? The trailer stacks, where it's like people became so enamored with virtual life that they just ignored real life, and it just turned into one big slum.
I truly think we're heading to that kind of a thing. I think
I-
there's going to
it
be
feels that way.
elite.
Yep.
And then there's going to be the rest of us.
And
like, yeah, but also there's like a wave, right? Like, everybody is like, everybody's trying to stay in that next class. And as that wave kind of comes through, there's going to be people that are a little bit closer to being rich than the people to the outside. And then I think that's when like the small bickering bullshit classism starts up with that. Because at some point it's going to be everybody's like, oh, hey,
you're one or the other.
Yeah, well, you're one of the other. And like, yeah, these people are doing drugs, so we're just a little bit better than them.
Yeah.
We're still in the same position, but we're not fucking over everybody trying to do drugs, and then like we'll be a little bit better off.
How
But then there's gonna
badass
be
would it be if there's like
people that are a
tribes
little bit
fighting
better
over like camping space in Seattle?
What have you ever seen?
Tribes of junkies waging like fucking Braveheart style war over who's gonna camp in Seward Park tonight.
Just fighting for the land?
Yeah.
How fun would that be?
Yeah.
Pop a bunch of blues and go
Just
fucking
go for it.
Braveheart style. Yeah, freedom.
Oh man, what's that? There's
Like
a
homemade machetes and fucking like stolen lawnmower blades.
Well, wasn't that, what was that? Hootsies and
Footsies and Tootsies?
Yeah. Hotel Rwanda and all that. And
Have you seen that movie?
I have not.
they would
You
just,
feel like crying?
No.
but it was like mass genocide and
Oh.
just two different tribing areas in Africa. And they just came with machetes
Yeah, speaking
and
of
thousands
genocide,
of people and chopped heads off.
While we are sending trillions of dollars or billions of dollars to Ukraine, the Azerbaijan, yeah, there is a genocide like taking form right now, and nobody's talking about it. Just a side note. All right, back to the
Where at?
Azerbaijan.
George.
Where at?
Yeah.
Dude,
That guy's doing what?
Yeah. Eastern Europe. Yeah. I guess, is it Eastern Europe? Is it more like South Central?
it's next to Armenia,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And, yeah.
It's
And
the
then-
Armenians and the Azerbaijanis.
Yeah.
And it's these are these old world beefs that go back like 7,000 years, and
It's right where Russia gets tan.
Cool. We're about to send in a couple billion.
That's where it's
I don't
like
think we are.
when Russia gets tan.
Yeah.
Approximately.
Yeah. It's right.
Okay, copy that.
It's a great way to put it.
I know the ones you're talking
Where the
about.
Russians go from looking like Igor to looking a little bit more like Will.
Yeah. No, I know exactly
Yeah.
where that's at. I could point to it on a map.
Oh shit.
Azerbaijan. Oh shit, my bad, guys. That sucks. They're going through it. Huh?
Yeah, genocide always sucks. It's not a good thing, but it's crazy. It's still happening.
Yep.
And we're all like, it's so crazy. We're like, our carbon footprint, you're going to heat everything up. And it's like, well, for these people, they don't care if there's an eco green car
hoping to
or an
survive the
electric car.
month.
Yeah, it's like people are coming the fact. And that's where I go Mike Zedong, because it's like, listen, man, if we're team people, we can't have genocide happening. If we're all in this to win and become a better thing, like, you can't have genocide. Didn't we learn this a
hang
long
on. Where's
time
the
ago?
UN? Isn't this what they?
Yeah,
exist for?
right. Well, because they're not in it, probably because
Yeah.
they don't pay or something.
Well, they're tied up in Ukraine laundering money.
Yeah, they're making real money. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but it's like, why does that still happen in this day and age when everyone's so
Because
equality and
well,
equity?
no,
and this,
we
and
like
it's
to bill ourselves as the peacekeepers of the world, but the reality is we only were peacekeeping in nations that had resources. So if you're Armenia, suck it, because you don't have any resources. We'll go peacekeeping. I was actually just listening to, Eric Prince, the founder and CEO of Blackwater, and he was talking about the squandered resources in Afghanistan, where they sit on top of like trillions of dollars worth of lithium.
Oh, it's precious metals everywhere.
Lithium, and then they sit on the largest copper mine in the world. And then there was one other one, but he's like, in 20 years, we didn't even bother to try to set up any sort of like value add system there where we're contributing to the local economy,
Start a mining company.
and also to our own like
Good pockets.
He's like, we're basically talking about empire though, like, which bothers people, but he's like, that's what America has been doing since the end of World War II is empire building.
Let's help
And
ourselves
so-
and another country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if we're going to empire build, this is how we fucked it up. You should have exploited those national resources for the good of both the local economy and ours back at home. And we didn't do any of that.
It's interesting how much empire building China's doing with South America, Africa, and
Yeah. And look how it's going for them. Like
very well.
Their economy's growing.
very well.
Although they've got some issues too. They're headed for a population collapse because of their one child policy.
Yeah,
Bullshit.
it's too many. No,
there's
coming.
30 million. There is a delta of 30 million more Chinese men than women, which means there's 30 million dudes who can't have a wife. and that's
and you still don't think genocide's good?
Oh my God.
No? Too much?
yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Goddamn.
Problem solved.
Those poor ladies.
Yeah.
Bunch of rutting bulls out there.
Woo!
Well, isn't
Sexy
But hang on.
Ray.
So because of the glut or that delta in men to women, there just aren't enough babies to even replace the population they have right now.
Yeah. Too bad they've been throwing them away. All right.
Should have kept that one.
Oops.
God damn. That is crazy. How many women do you think babies did they murder?
Oh, probably millions.
For there to be a stereotype in America.
30 million extra dudes.
God damn.
Yeah.
Me so horny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
Poor
there's
guys.
something to that, like stubbornness, and like honoring your family. Like, this is what it means to honor my family.
I need a man. I need a boy. Yeah,
if I'm not passing on my lineage, if I give up, I have a girl and she takes another family's name and then my family is no longer, kind of thing, right? But to a certain degree, like, that's also like that kind of is what drives a lot of shit. Just having that pride of just like, we're going to do this. But at the same time, not being willing to have a daughter because it's your only child.
Yeah.
It's kind of
That's
crazy.
fucked up.
Do you think there's women's rights classes? Like, you know how in university you can do like women's studies or women movement or suffrage or, do you think that exists in China after they just got done throwing out all these?
Well, it's going to get there.
How do we
you think it
how do we make
exists?
it in America to where there's a 30 million more women than men? That's what we need here.
We got to start throwing out the boys.
Sorry, Lando.
Yeah. You guys.
Well, it takes
we need chicks.
it takes one guy
Get 100 chicks pregnant.
in a week.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
a young man
Whoa.
could probably
divide by 7. Yeah, I don't know.
divide by 7 times by 4, my friend.
We're having a good time.
Yeah. And 5 on Friday.
It is true, though. Like, all you need is one. But then it's like, all right, well, you need population diversity.
Yeah, but I mean, so what is there a country that has more, like, what their delta of females to males is larger?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'm sure it exists.
And what does that look?
And it's probably a small margin
percentage. 30 million males in a country of 3 billion?
No. There's 30 million more males than females.
Yeah, but how many? I thought they had like.
They have like 3. Is it billion?
I thought they had like
BB.
1.3 or 1.5.
But either
Hang on,
way,
I'm good
30
one.
million to that is nothing.
Yeah, right?
You know what I mean? That's not a lot.
Quick
Well,
genocide.
except
Quick
that
food
it's
famine.
still 30 million dudes who are like, I can't get married. So then what's their motivation to work and contribute to society? Or are they just going to become like video game dorks?
I'm so
Yeah.
ronery.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they're going to end up in a shanty town.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Doing blues
Doing
because they
blues.
can't get none.
Yeah.
Okay, China's population
Looking it up here, but
looks like 1.4 billion.
Oh,
Mike,
once again, Mike with the stats. Right in
Mike
the ballpark.
Zedong knows
Yeah.
his people. This guy.
I like numbers.
Jiminy Cricket. And how many do we have?
350 million, I think.
Yeah, but then count illegals. Would
Yeah,
you know,
we're
it's like,
swallowing.
what is the census?
450 million.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
whose side are they on? Our side or somebody else's?
And then it's like they say, what? We probably had 2
We're talking
million
about you,
come in.
Canada.
Yeah.
But we had like maybe 2 million, don't they say, come in this last year?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so instantly that got bumped up. Jesus.
Are they elk bugling in here?
What is
The rut
happening
is
over
in
here?
Lake Stevens.
Yeah. At first, I thought it was a squeaky floor. Then I thought somebody stepped on a frog.
I thought someone's sneaking up behind you on that floor. Uh-oh.
It's like 4 in a row. Anyway.
Azerbaijan.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so, if China used a little bit of that.
They did, like, what was it, in the 50s? Mm-hmm. They think 30 to 60 to 70 maybe million people died.
50 million Chinese people died because of their...
but that's in their records. Like I say, it could be anywhere from there to like 100,000. Yeah. Nuts. Yes. Numbers.
And
nuts.
It was all because of just bad policy that killed off their, what was it? Why did they stop eating meat?
They adopted Bidenomics.
Well, yeah, basically. And then there was became a grain-based society. And they said the birds were eating too much grain, so they killed off the birds. And then when the birds were gone, the insects went crazy and killed all the wheat. And then they, and this is how 50 or 500 or was it 50 million? 50 million Chinese people died of famine because of just shit policy. And there's a lot of parallels to the United States of America in 2023 and what we may be headed for in the next couple of years if everybody in this country doesn't start pulling their head out of their ass a little bit, getting involved, and we kind of need to get a little angry.
Yeah.
Because they're not the people who make these decisions, they're not getting the point. Or I should say they're not getting the hint.
It doesn't truly affect them.
No, it does not at all.
It hurts more the common person that has to pay or deal with the shortages. Yep. Usually the higher up will always find a way to get accommodation.
They'll embezzle for themselves.
Have you heard this thing called, on TikTok, it's going around viral, it's called the Ask Your Guy How Often the Rome thing? I heard this on Tim Cass.
Only because I watched one where the guy was, he gave like a 5-minute soliloquy on like the give them bread and circus.
Yeah.
And they'll be,
he nailed that too.
Yeah. Oh, so you know the one I'm talking about. And he's like, how many people are so
Jordan's
well, think about how many people are obsessed with Taylor Swift or NFL football or like the guys in the office, there's fantasy football, like fucking shut up with your fairy tale shit. But they're obsessed with circus. And as long as they have food in their bellies, like cheap whatever that they can, just they don't feel hunger pangs, they are satisfied.
Yeah. So there's a TikTok trend going on right now where girlfriends or wives go ask their husbands or boyfriends how often they think about Rome, like the fall of Rome or Rome. And girls will record them asking their significant other, and they answer. And all the guys are like, I don't know, like a couple days ago, or like maybe once a week, or a couple times a month, and these girls are like blown away. They don't understand it. They're like, "What are you talking?" Dude, they start busting up laughing. But it's like I listen to it on. Do you listen to Tim Pool at all? Mm-mm. I like Tim Pool. He's kind of interesting. But you brought up the story, and women have a different thinking. Like men are more worried about danger and threat. So for us to be problem solving, what we kind of like to do is see where the past has fallen apart and understand it. And maybe we can use that to line the points up to help predict the future, to help avoid conflict, to help continue survival. Whereas a woman doesn't necessarily think about survival as much. Some women do, but they're more concerned with the immediate social circle, the rearing of others, the acquiring of, the things that are nurturing that a woman provides. And, it's kind of interesting because I think about it all the time. And it's like, what were the 3 things that made Rome fall? And it was like corruption of the government, division of the empire, and invasion of foreign bodies. Yeah. And it's like, God damn it, doesn't it feel like we have all 3 of those?
It's all right there.
So it's like, I think about Rome all the time.
Yeah.
And it was they had a fucking plumbing. They had heated water.
Yeah.
They had, I mean, it was really a luxury of what they had, but to get to a point where
it probably made them soft.
Society.
Where
Yeah.
a society that doesn't have real problems manufactures problems. And that's absolutely where we're at right now, where people are making up shit that doesn't exist and pretending it's a problem just because we don't have any real difficult problems.
Well, that's why maybe like the staying tough thing, the microdosing adversity. If you can fucking like create a problem and fix it right away, like you wake up and you do a strenuous workout or something, it's like you kind of get that crushed where now you're just solving real problems. You know, you're not muddying the water with bullshit or coming up with bad intent, you know? If you can give yourself struggle and break through it, you're not going to maybe go weak in those times when you shouldn't be weak.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think we should all go to Africa, make spears, and poach an elephant.
Africa.
Just to be primal.
Well, there's
an
something.
elephant. I don't want to kill an elephant. I will die.
I don't either.
All of us will die.
This
One
will be
of
a
us
bonding
will
experience, Mike.
You don't think I could choke out an elephant? Fuck you, man. No, I think there's
Okay,
something.
would you go single leg or double leg though?
Oh, there. I wouldn't even. That's
Would you
one.
go for? What do you?
I wouldn't.
Hang on. I don't know. This popped in my head. You ever see that
catcher on their tusks?
You gotta pull their tails. That's the secret.
You ever see that show like Beastmaster where like the guy could communicate with animals?
Oh, I got a great story.
If you could hunt with one animal, like in the entire world, what would be your hunting partner? Like that you could control and talk to animal-wise.
Saber-toothed
Like a
tiger.
black... Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
You're really
Like, is that not everybody's answer?
A bird, yeah.
without question.
Are you
Get
kidding?
on with the bird?
Shut the fuck up.
What?
You wouldn't want to like...
No.
Dude, have you ever seen He-Man? See the fucking thing
yeah,
he
the
wrote? It's called
saber-tooth, yeah.
Battle Cat.
Have you seen Battle Cat? Yeah.
And I put a saddle on that shit too.
Hell.
You can ride anything with a saddle.
Put a saddle on you.
Yeah. I would say a bird for sure, because a bird would be able to fly around real quick. Oh, there they are, and tell me what's up, where these animals are. I could sneak in at that point and kill them.
You think you can sneak better than a saber-toothed cat?
Yeah.
No fucking guy.
No, but a saber-toothed cat has to smell them. He has to find, like, do you think they're just, like, finding animals all the time?
Yeah.
No.
They're fucking saber-toothed
No
cats.
way. They're an ambush predator, dude. Read a book.
A bird would be cool. Although it like a cougar, a fucking hunting cougar buddy would be
dude.
pretty sweet.
He's like communicated telepathically with.
Yeah, some hot older lady. Is that what you're saying?
Take him down.
Her name's
Marge.
Roxanne. Yeah.
Roxanne.
Oh goddamn.
Yeah. What would yours would be a cougar and yours would be a
No, I'm not saying I
couple
would
kitty
be.
cats over here. These guys, I'm talking like falcons and raptors.
No, I'm not committed. Like a wolf would be cool because like a wolf can smell well, and it has strength and it has speed to track something. Like if he goes by and nips at their feet, and I can run over and bang him on the head with a rock, and I got my kill. But like it'd be cool to have an animal hunting partner. I feel like there's a lot more movies back in the day about this.
That's a great
So hang
thing
on.
to think about, and I haven't thought about it ever. So the fact that you're
We got to get back to this, but I have a story about Beastmaster. My cousin slept with an ugly woman back when we were in like our 20s, and it was rough, bro. And the next morning, I was like, "Remember that movie Beastmaster?" And he's just like, "Shut the fuck up." I was like, "That's you, man. You're the Beastmaster." From then on, every time I see him, Beastmaster. 20 years later.
One mistake the dude made, he could never live it. He's like, dude.
Oh man.
So shanty towns.
Saber-toothed cats.
yeah. Shantytowns wouldn't last long.
You don't really see pets Like,
No, fuck
do you see
no,
homeless
no.
people with pets, really?
Yeah,
you
all
see a
the
lot of
time.
dogs. I
All
thought
the
you were going to
time.
say
Like
you
a
don't see a
dude
lot
with
of
a
pets in a
snake?
shanty town. No, you see a lot of like teriyaki in a shanty town.
Yeah, a lot of pulled whatever in a shanty town.
I ate a dog in Korea. Have you guys ever eaten dog?
No.
No.
Did we talk about this already?
No.
I tried dog.
I'm not against trying dog.
Yeah, it honestly wasn't bad.
And okay, well, good to know.
Yeah, you got a few.
Did it hurt your insides? Not like pain-wise? They say it is a hot meat, like when you eat dog.
It was good. It was like tender. It was red meat, and it was tender, and it was on like a little kebab with teriyaki. It was delicious.
Yeah.
I was very drunk on soju, and
Do you know what kind of dog you had?
I have no idea.
Like
but
Shih Tzu?
when we were out on,
I just got a bunch of pictures.
Yeah. This is my dog. It's farm fresh.
Is that
This-
Balto?
we did a couple overland movements through the mountains in South Korea, and we came like we must have passed 20 actual like dog farms where they're growing dogs for meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not like it's not like that's unusual there. Like that's a normal thing is they grow meat dogs.
It'd be hard to eat a little bit. Like, I have such a connection to my dog.
I know.
You know, like, because they're smart a little bit.
yeah.
And they're loyal.
Yeah, that's
Whereas a cow or a horse,
Yeah,
or,
they're just
you know,
dumb
no
smart.
animals ever, like, you know.
That's the other thing. Like people don't eat horses here.
Yeah, they eat them tons in Europe and
Most-
even in Canada.
most places. Like look at the amount of meat on that animal.
Mm-hmm. Wasteful.
We're just putting it in the ground.
Trying to turn it into glue.
Yeah, fuck.
Crazy.
Do they put it in dog food?
Horse?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe they do.
Yeah, I'm sure there's. But I mean,
A hoof.
you know, how many horses just get buried and just wasted? You know what I mean? Like, or like
A lot.
or like put into a big old.
That's what we did. We had horses when I grew up,
Uh-huh.
and when they died, my dad would dig a
Trying to hold
just
tobacco.
get the tractor out and dig a hole and drag the horse into it. And fuck, except for one, we had one.
They're gonna be like, they're
a-
fossils.
yeah, like some friends of my parents. They were boarding a horse for their daughter at our house,
Oh.
and it was old mare, just a nag, and.
So hold on, is that a horse term? Nag, a nag, just a nag.
Yes.
Okay.
And
It's an old horse, a female horse that can't reproduce anymore.
It's just funny the amount of like, you know, farmy kind of saying like a nag is like, yeah, that sounds like it belongs on a farm.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. So this old nag was diagnosed with
This old nag.
diagnosed with bone cancer, and for whatever reason, my parents didn't want to bury it just right there on our property, and so the folks who owned it were like, "Well, can Toby just trailer it to the dump and we'll shoot it and push it into the dump?" Because the dump and the county dump was fine with it.
Oh, yeah.
So I trailered this fucking horse to the dump, pulled her out, and then this guy who actually we really liked, like really nice people who were family friends of ours, he reaches into the glove box of his pickup truck and pulls out like a .38 snub nose revolver, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And so it's like, I don't think that might not be the right gun for this. I was thinking he was going to bring, because my mom had said, just take the horse to the dump. What's his name? I don't want to say his name. He'll be there with a gun. He's going to shoot the horse. The horse will fall into the hole. Then the people at the dump will just cover it over immediately. And so he pulls out this little tiny snub-nosed revolver and just starts like, clack, 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 clack. I was like, yeah, I'm holding onto the lead rope. You know what I mean? Like, and this horse is like, he's hitting it in the neck and in the head and shit. And I was like, what the fuck? And he emptied all the chambers and reloaded, and I took it and I shot it in the back of the head.
Yeah.
And,
Right behind the ear.
Yeah.
Was it still alive?
Yes.
You got
Yeah,
all
of
that
course.
chance, and then it was like,
Yeah, he shot it like 8 times.
was it?
But
just-
he was just like spraying bullets.
Oh man.
This was like, I'm fucking 16.
All right, guys. Trading Northwest. Little shameless plug here.
Oh my god! I grew up on a hobby farm.
Yeah.
But a farm nonetheless. I have some fucking
Yeah, to put
Gotta-
a horse down,
yeah.
like
Start calling
I've
it
got some
horse whisperer
stories,
over
yeah.
here.
a 44 long colt is usually what all cowboys
yeah, or
used
even
to
a
carry.
22. So the butcher who used to come out.
22, he says.
No, I'm for real. The butcher who used to come out and kill our steers every year. He would
That's
use
another one. Steer.
yeah.
Sorry,
steer.
these weird, these farm words. It's just weird to me. They sound funny.
Steer.
Yeah. steer, mare, nag,
colt.
You know, they just these
Steed.
I don't know, farm words are just
Thanks,
different.
Jordan.
Sorry to interrupt.
The guy who used to come out to butcher the steers, he would just use a single shot 22 rifle, and he would draw a line, like an imaginary line from left eye to right ear and right eye to left ear, and where they crossed, he'd put 122 bullet, and that cow would go from standing up looking at, they would just fall straight to the ground, dead.
We used 22s to kill pigs 2 years ago. A bunch of like big pigs.
Yeah.
But we just find that soft spot right behind their ear with a long 22, push it in, and they would just go over.
That's what they kill gators with too, yeah?
Yeah. And when we would butcher our chickens, we used to do what's called pithing, where you hang them upside down and they stop
moving,
flopping.
Yeah.
And then you just take like a fillet knife.
Yep.
No, we didn't. And you there's a little notch in the top of their mouth, and you just poke your fillet knife through the top of their mouth into their brain, and it keeps their heart beating. Then you go down their throat with the fillet knife, cut their jugulars inside, and they bleed out through their mouth with their heart still beating while they're brain dead and
pumping.
Yeah, exactly.
We did that to a bunch of chickens like, I don't know, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
We had so many chickens, and I'm like, I'm done with this. And I'm like, I want meat.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I'm like,
Did you eat all the egg layers? Or
30 chickens deep in
God.
killing spree.
So
But the worst thing is plucking.
Were you killing egg layers, or were you?
Yeah.
Did you add meat chicken?
Wild egg layers that wouldn't stay, and it got to be a problem.
Yeah.
I have better chickens now.
We skinned them, so we didn't have to deal with plucking them.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Dunk them in hot water. And
I've seen like little. It looked like
But
a
roast chicken with the skin still on. Is so
Yes, that's what
yeah.
I'm saying.
good.
I saw a guy. He had like a washing machine with like a bunch of straw sticking out of it.
Yeah.
And it would spin.
Tyler's got one of those.
Oh,
I
does
think.
he?
Yeah,
And
because he does all those game bird or meat birds.
Yeah.
You know, and plucking them's a pain in the ass. So you just throw it in there, and it's like a washing machine tumble.
Yeah, and just
yeah. Rips all the feathered, the down, and everything, and then they just singe them. And they're good to go.
Yeah, dude.
That's the thing I hate. Like when I duck hunt, and I'm like, I'm gonna make the perfect duck, and like spend all this time pulling the feathers
And all of a
and
sudden
making
a
it
little
good.
bit of rip, and you're like, fuck.
No, it's like I'll fuck up the entire duck because it's wild, and it's like takes barely any heat, you know. And it's like it took me 2 days to properly prepare this the way I wanted it, and then you try it, and you're like, this is garbage, dude. I cut off a piece, I gave it to my dog. Like, I threw it in the air. He catched it in his mouth, closed his mouth, looked at me with, like, very sad eyes, spit it on the ground, and then looked back at me. It was so bad my dog wouldn't eat it. And that hurts because you take all that time.
That's hilarious. Do you guys like wild duck?
Yes, I do. I like it. My favorite way is just breast. I haven't found a good way to do it whole, or what's that called? Spatchcock?
Spatchcock.
Spatchcock? Yeah. Spoxcock.
Spoxcock. Prosper.
But I do like breasting them and taking the breast and wrapping them in bacon and a little flour on it and frying it in a pan. Mm-hmm. And it is so good because it keeps it a little rare on the inside. That outside is nice and crispy. I like wild duck.
Yeah, I would. I'm a fan of the snow goose.
Is that right?
That tastes pretty good.
That snow goose is really good. It's like red meaty.
Yeah, it's kind of like a steak.
Yeah.
It's like
Interesting.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot as far as that goes. As far as like, because it's a little less gamey, I think, than the wild duck.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, there's ways in which to cook things that like you can take a lot of that away and you could eat just about any meat. People are like, oh, that's really nasty. It's like there's a way to do it right. Granted, when you don't do it right, you're still stuck there eating it. So it's like
it's intense.
You know? But you know, it's fun to learn and like try and build a progression on like how to cook a piece of meat that's like, oh, this is now phenomenal.
Yeah.
The last elk James got, I'm like, get the liver. I want to eat the liver, you know? And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, get it. So, dude, he ended up bringing over a fucking like 18-pound liver. Yeah, it's like, wow, this is a lot of liver. Yeah, it was a whole brisket of liver. And so we're cutting it down, and it's like, oh, it says to soak it in buttermilk to help eliminate some of the gaminess.
Yeah.
And so we just threw some buttermilk on it for like 5 minutes, and they're like, right later you read, it's like, leave it overnight, you know,
24-hour soak.
But we grilled that liver, that elk liver. I bit into it. I could taste not only the elk, like
the grass,
the dirt of the forest. I could taste pine cones. Like, I had all the flavor through that filter in his liver of like his environment. It was the most intense, had to spit it out, intense flavor explosion I've ever had in my mouth. That was a weird way to say it. I don't like the word flavor explosion.
And that
probably not the most
gayest thing you will hear tonight.
Yeah, it was the most intense.
But it was unique. Like, it really did I could taste the grass. I could taste like the elk. Like, you know, just everything. I could taste the pine cones, the dirt. It tasted like forest and elk body.
You couldn't get it down though, huh? Yeah, it was rough.
It was too strong.
Did you do it with onions?
Yeah.
Liver and onions. Super thin.
Liver and onions. Yep.
Did you bread it or fry it? Or
did you pan fried, but with butter. Tons of butter and salt and pepper. It was just so intense. Couldn't do it.
Couldn't even choke it down for well, no, I guess not.
It was so gamey.
Right.
I mean,
it was like
it's cool. It's cool to think that maybe there's a way in which to learn about.
Soak it.
I was kind of having a same thought. Well, no, I was thinking about how much of that elk's life you just experienced through the flavor of the liver.
Yeah, and maybe that's really why it's so good, and you should have not spit it out.
Well, I would have vomited it out because that was coming if I kept it in my mouth. Dude, yeah, my buddy.
I don't think I want to date you.
My buddy couldn't even do it.
You want to experience Tobin, where he's been?
I taste the flavor.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, elk liver. It's intense.
All right, let's take a, should we take a pee break or should we wind it down?
What time? How long we got in there?
We're at 53 minutes.
Yeah, we started a little late today because I was running late.
On Kozak time.
Yeah, I was running on Super Kozak time. Yeah.
It's all good. You brought beer.
Purple Belt Kozak time. That's about as long as it gets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Purple Belt Kozak was very still on time because he was very eager to keep going.
Yeah.
I started getting lazy around brown belt. Yeah. I really started to solidify.
Jordan, you weren't here. I was watching Mike roll tonight, and when he was rolling with shit, it doesn't matter. But he was going his lazy rolls. And I was like, he looks like a chubby bear cub. Just sort of like yeah, exactly. Just kind of like tottering around on like whatever center of gravity he can find. And then he rolled with Brett, and you put it to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's the grind him into the mat and crush him roll.
Yeah. Look at this bear cub out here. What the hell? Yeah. Turns it on all of a sudden.
Gotta turn it on when you turn it on.
Yeah.
It's nice to not.
I always I never know I want people to know what I can do. But then at the same time I always like to play a little bit.
Yeah.
So trying to find the right balance.
Because pure turning it on sucks. It's like, dude, I'm gonna elbow you. You're gonna elbow me. Yeah. Some scramble's gonna be crazy. There's times we're just going nuts, but it's like when we turn it on, it's like at a certain point it cannot be fun. I'm still trying to make this fun and nuts, but not destroy each other. I've destroyed myself too much.
I don't know, man. I'm still let's just fucking burn it all down. You know what I mean? Because I think that's so fun.
It is fun, but it's there's a little bit of play involved in it still, too.
Oh, yeah. You have to even to not be an asshole.
Because then it's all right, if there's no play, then you guys are just
You know
holding.
what they call that? They call that wrestling.
Yeah. No, but you'll hold a position because you got a gi and grips. You could find yourself in one position for 5 out of 6 minutes because no one's willing to let it go. Mm-hmm. If I'm in a jiu-jitsu, fine, go ahead, take my back. I don't fucking care. I'll work out of this. To me, that's the fun
I see
part.
what you're saying. Avoiding the stalls.
Yeah, because otherwise you're just gonna. I'm not giving this up. I'm not. If you get up here, that's bad for me. Mm-hmm. If I get underneath you here, that's bad for you. Mm-hmm. So each person's blockheadish, and you're just gonna stall for fucking 5 out of 6 minutes.
That's why sometimes you got to sacrifice a pawn.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Give up a bishop.
Yeah, take my little pinky toe. Yeah, and start moving in on this. I'll give you something to work with.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough for me to, because I want to go hard, but I also I find myself like doing stuff I'm too lackadaisical.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, this has got to stop. People think they're starting to fuck me up.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like what you're good at. So the fun time, if you're good at a particular thing, well, now you get to explore and do other like techniques or entries or what I mean? Yeah, it gives you the ability to focus on bullshit you've never done and start learning it. Because you already know what you know. You're not going to learn it better.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that's a really good way of putting it because, like, I definitely don't put in live roles. I don't put I try and get, like, the move of the day in.
Yeah.
But I don't like say, okay, I'm going to work for this and then what we did yesterday and then what we did today off of this particular setup. And all I'm going to do is that.
Yeah.
But it's nice being like able to reset that back up quickly enough to get back into the position to maybe try it again. That's kind of the nice thing. But at the same time, it's like, oh, well, takes concentration and I want to play more.
Yeah.
It's like I get half hour of this. It's fun.
All right.
Fun.
I think
we're wrap it up.
Yeah, we're all running out of steam here. I think it's time to say goodnight, and we will catch you all next week.
Later.